Gamer Feed Radio.
What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? Welcome to Gamer Feed Radio.
Yes, indeed.
And we've got an exciting show here this week, talking all things Gamescom, which just took place over in Cologne, Germany, if you're totally out of the loop and in the darkness. We're here on iTunes and iHeartRadio. All the cool kids got to know what's going on. And, you know, at the last minute, as tends to happen, we have a staffing shift.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely pleased to inform you that Brad has otherwise busied himself, although I do have a funny story about Brad, which I'm going to tell, and since he's not here to defend himself, he will rue the day. But we've brought back the one and only Smash Extravaganza winner, Kyle Pope. Welcome back, Kyle.
Hello, Gamer Feed Radio. What's going on? I'm back.
We have missed you greatly. We have missed you greatly, sir, and are thrilled to have you with us. So before
to be back, sir.
Yeah.
Also, Brad, stay on my lawn.
Let me tell you. So, funny story about Brad. On the show last week, we were talking about, it was the noobs feed, so we were going through all the news noobs need to know.
Right.
And somewhere in there, he was like, so, yeah, I got this gig, and I'm busy, I'm be out of town. I'm like, oh, where are you going? And he's like, I kind of don't want to talk about it. And I was like, no. See, you can't say that on the air. And he's like, no, really, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, okay, fine. So afterwards, we talked about it. Full disclosure, Brad is kind of a semi-journalist type guy.
Sure.
In his profession. And
Semi's a good word.
So he starts posting pictures on Facebook and all the Twitters and everything of these just naked dude, like Chippendale dudes.
Chippendale dancers, yep.
And I'm like, Brad, that's great, buddy. Is there anything, you need to tell us, or do we need to talk about? And he goes, no. He's like, that's the thing, right? So his gig, he was ashamed to say that his gig was in Alabama, was this Chippendales show, and his company, I guess, had him go down and do the filming of this activity. And somebody asked him on Facebook, like, hey, where's your banana hammock? Why aren't you up there? Why don't we see your chaps or whatever? And anyway, it was abysmally funny. So
yes.
If anybody cares to comment on the show on Facebook or at GamerFeedRadio.com, feel free to harass Brad until he can't stand it anymore because he deserves it.
And remember to use the hashtag Nintendo Banana Hammock.
Yes. That's awesome. Hashtag Nintendo Banana Hammock. In fact, I'm going to use that when I post the show.
Absolutely, as you should.
Holy crap, funny. Okay, so this show, that's what you get, Brad, for not being here at the last minute. Love you.
Yeah.
So this week is all about Gamescom. And so for those of you that, again, like I said earlier, live under a rock, it's basically another video game show that's out in Germany, and all the publishers and everybody posts all their cool stuff that's coming. A lot of the stuff we already knew, we talk about here on the show regularly.
A couple updates.
But some updates, exactly. So, with that, we'll just go ahead and jump right in. The first of which is there was some new footage on Star Fox.
Yes.
Now, in a previous episode of this show, we were not too kind to Star Fox after the E3 release.
I was.
Well, that makes one of us.
Yeah. I thought it looked sweet. I still think it looks sweet. I am a little not sold on the gyro controllers.
Yeah.
Controls. Especially after watching some guy play the demo online.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was having a rough time. And I was like, does this guy just suck? Or is he, like, really having trouble? And then I remembered during, like, the press conference, well, I didn't remember. They just flat out reminded me that the gamepad was the prime controller for the Star Fox game. Right? Am I?
Yeah.
Not?
That's exactly right. So
right.
It's like the second screen thing.
Oh man, I mean, is there an option to not have to do that?
It's not clear.
I really hope there is, because I mean, I'm very traditional when it comes to my gaming. Like, I think motion controls are garbage. I think whatever the heck this gamepad Nintendo thing is doing. I know Brad disagrees, but Brad's not here, so screw Brad. And, I love you, Brad. Yeah, I hope there's an option to use the regular controller, because I don't want to use the gamepad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part is, and why I think the main focus, if not all of the game, is being built off gamepad, is because this is a Miyamoto built game, which, you know, in his mind, hey, you're in the cockpit, and so when you use the gamepad, you're looking out the cockpit window at the game, so you're going to have to fly around and look through to aim and shoot, which with any Nintendo title, especially in the Wii generation, when you're trying to learn how to use the stupid things, there's an adjustment period. So I mean, I think this will be the same, but I don't know. I mean, so far, the only thing that we know for sure is that it's using the the gamepad. So you might be changing your tone as we get closer to release, good sir.
Yeah, that's very true. Same time, though, I think the game itself looks awesome. I watched the guy from Nintendo Europe explain all the game features, and I think the Landmaster looks sweet in that level. Titania, which is kind of like a remake from Star Fox 64, I think. Mm-hmm. That boss battle looked freaking awesome. Very big, very vibrant colors and fun atmosphere, and big bad guys, big enemies. I think some of the voice actors from Star Fox 64 are returning to do this one, which I think is really cool.
That is cool.
I think the same guy, I know for sure the guy who did Pigma is doing Pigma again in this Star Fox game. I want to say so is the entire Star Wolf team. I don't know about Fox or Falco or Slippy or Peppy yet, because I haven't heard them speak.
Right.
But I've definitely heard Pigma speak, and that is definitely dead on the same guy. And I'm excited, because it just looks like Star Fox 64, except prettier.
Yeah, hey, and if you've got a good formula and a classic franchise like that, I mean, that was sort of the missteps that Star Fox took in GameCube, and
I mean, you could sum that up.
Yeah,
to Nintendo in general. Trying to take formulas, breaking them just to be something new. Oh wait, no, I'm getting confused with Sonic the Hedgehog. Never mind.
Don't get confused, because people are still furious about the Metroid Prime Federation Force 3DS game.
Whatever the hell that is.
Right? Everybody's like, are you kidding me? And there was an article, actually, I know this isn't even on the agenda, but I try not to talk about things that aren't enough baked or that we don't have a whole lot of news about, but the guy who created the game was honestly shocked at the backlash from the fans, and I'm like, really? Are you seriously that clueless? Yeah, it's almost like Miyamoto is a little bit sometimes with some of his games, where you just they come from this strange place and they think, oh, this will be fun or whatever. I mean, no pun intended. I don't know what mushroom they're smoking, but
right.
I don't get it, man. I really.
Also, you might want to. You don't smoke mushrooms. Anyway, but continue, sir.
That's what I'm talking about. So, all right, enough about Star Fox. The next thing that's real big, everybody. I mean, every time we post something on Facebook, this thing just blows up. Fallout 4, right? So, everybody loves the Fallout series. Generally speaking, I've never played it. Honestly, I've never played any of them. But in this particular version, it was announced this week that there's not going to be any level caps or anything like that we're used to seeing in a RPG open world style game. So there's a lot of questions remaining about, well, what's the actual mechanic? Are you just going to get experience and level up weapons, or what are you going to do? But there isn't like a WoW or a Destiny where, hey, you have level 30 or level 50 and that's all you get.
Yeah, I mean, if there is a leveling up system, I don't understand how there could not be a level cap. So my question is, is Fallout 4 going to be more like kind of a straight shooter, or is it going to incorporate some other type of RPG mechanic, sort of like maybe something like the Sphere Grid in Final Fantasy X, or like sort of like a locate. Well, I guess Fallout did this too, but like you get like points that you can like distribute among your attributes. So like, you know, you when you level up, quotation marks, you get like 3 skill points, and then you locate them to like intelligence, strength, ammo capacity, or whatever. So that's like my kind of question is like, then how do you get stronger, or do you just not get stronger? You just find guns and then pew 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 pew.
Yeah, I mean, look, that I think is partly the open question. You know, are we going to see anything significant there? I don't know. I mean, the big play, all the announcements talked about, it's a big open world. So, I mean, is it?
Which is.
I mean, that's fine, and you know, we've talked about this on previous shows. You know, that's the trend, and like most trends, it's going to die soon because everybody's got this big open world. They want you to keep coming back and playing their crap, but you know,
but then there's nothing.
Yeah, it's like you go in and you run around, and it's like, what do I do? Or you find the barriers that really do exist that they don't tell you very quickly, like in Destiny, for example, and you just keep rerunning the same crap over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. All I know is that there's no level cap. So apparently you can just keep leveling until you have unlimited power. So we'll see.
I don't think that's possible, but the thing about the open world thing, I think I'm seeing this more and more in big games like this. I saw it a lot in Batman Arkham Knight. Like, no punctuation, I think, said it best. At goofy, top-headed stick figure wonderfulness. A game that focuses on, I mean, a game where a player can do anything is a game that focuses on nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I think bores me about all these open world games. It's just like there's no structure, there's no like formula or anything. And I mean, yeah, there's a story mode, but like
it always leaves you wanting for more.
Right. The game is so focused on all the side shit, then when the story mode comes together, you just kind of feel unfulfilled because you don't really feel like you accomplished anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's definitely like the pendulum swinging back away from the late PS2 and then into like the PS3 generation where games were so linear, like Final Fantasy 13, for example, where you have no choice but to go from point A to point B, and you can't even like walk outside the hallway, or you know, just so I get the idea to keep that feeling of exploration, but not every game should be that way. Yeah.
Well, it's easy to make an RPG like that, and that's Final Fantasy is definitely a game that should keep its openness because that's just how the series has thrived for all its years, and you know, like that's been Final Fantasy since the beginning. Giant open world to explore and find a bunch of random stuff, and like find like hidden bosses and hidden treasures, and RPGs are naturally able to incorporate a massive open world and still feel like there's still like it still feels like there's purpose to it, you know?
Right.
But if you get a game like GTA 5 or Arkham Knight, or not saying GTA 5 is bad. I mean, I've only played it a little bit, but it just seems like there's the agenda of the main agenda of the game is just seems like it's always kind of lost in the openness of the world. And I don't know, in an RPG game, you're an explorer. You're supposed to be that way.
Right.
But in Batman, you're Batman. You're supposed to go fight supervillains and you know punch the Penguin in the face a bunch of times. You know, like not kind of like explore this open world that really doesn't have a lot to offer.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. And you know, it bleeds real nicely into the next several topics. So the other thing that was displayed or shown off at Gamescom was a next several Final Fantasy 15 trailers. The one that got the most attention was the one with the dad crying, holding what apparently is Noctis, the main character, as a child. We'll just affectionately refer to that as daddy issues, and that there's going to be a possible delay, another delay, in the release of the game, having some outlets indicating that it's going to slip outside of the holiday 2016 release, which would, I think, be devastating for the game. I don't think anybody wants to wait that long.
I'm shocked that it's even taking that long. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, what is the game going to do? If you've played the demo, if you've gone in and watched all the different video clips that came with the demo.
It looks pretty far along.
Yeah, I mean, the game's there, the structure's there, the graphics are there, it's got the voice acting and everything, so what more are they trying to do? What's the hook? I don't know, man.
This is just a theory, but I think it's anxiety.
It could be. I mean, well, let's be real, right? Same thing happened with 14. They released it too fast. It wasn't ready. It was a colossal flop. And they had to re-release it now. It's arguably one of the better games in the MMO RPG world.
Right.
But, I mean, this game has been around since, I think I read, 07 was the first time it was announced as Versus.
Pretty much since Final Fantasy 13 came out.
Yeah.
This game was supposed to be a part of the same universe.
Oh, my God.
And
I don't know.
So was Type O.
Yeah.
Which that eventually came out. And that was weird.
Portable.
Yeah, I regret buying that game. And yeah, then this is also supposed to be taking place in the Final Fantasy 13 universe, and they haven't changed that. It's still a part of that Nubuo Crystallis, whatever, however you say it. It was supposed to be Versus 13. They've been working on it since 07. What the actual hell?
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond explanation as to what it is that they're trying to do.
At this point, Kingdom Hearts might come out before it.
Hey, that would be great. But
I would totally be for that.
But to be fair,
all right, I don't mind waiting anymore. I got this awesomeness.
Well, but if you think about it, right, Square Enix as a publisher does have its hands in a lot of pots. You've got this, you've got Hitman, you've got Kingdom Hearts, you've got all these other Tomb Raider games that are out that take a lot of staffing and development. So one could argue they're in over their heads, but at some point they just got to release the damn thing.
The main programmer for both 15 and Kingdom Hearts is the same guy.
I mean,
Tetsuya Nomura.
Yeah, I mean, they did just have the Final Fantasy 14 Heavensward expansion release, and that's immensely popular. And maybe they're just trying to milk another expansion out of 14 before they jump to 15. I don't know.
I think at this point, though, it's Square Enix is kind of really in the hype right now with the re-release of Hitman, obviously the Final Fantasy VII remake that they just announced, and more and more slow developments on Kingdom Hearts 3. So right now, I feel like Square Enix needs to put a product out there, a big product out there, to kind of overall gain more trust in their fans and gamers. So a big title like Final Fantasy 15 still not coming out till possibly 2017. I think that's a big mistake, especially if they want to push Hitman, Kingdom Hearts, and the new Tomb Raider, because I think people are starved for 13's actual successor, and see see if they even learned anything from their mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I completely agree with you. I'm shocked that we're even having this conversation. I mean, it was funny earlier in the summer at E3 when a lot of games were getting delayed and everybody was like, "Oh, I told you," and now it's beyond ridiculous.
It's just kind of sad, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking at this agenda. I see, delay. Okay, yeah, that's happening. Yeah. Speaking of delays, though, one that I called. I hope you don't mind if I transition.
Oh no, please, you go right ahead.
You guys were all like 2015, Zelda's coming out. Me and Rob just look at each other like, you guys are morons. Yeah. There's no way this game was going to come out in 2016. It might not even come out for the Wii U.
Yeah, well, and that's so that's now the new thing, right? So they said, hey, it's going to be delayed a little bit more. Now everybody is, just like Final Fantasy 15, is it going to miss 2016 altogether? If it's going to miss, then why not just make it a port to NX and have a real big launch title to get out of the Wii U thing? Or is it the Twilight Princess of this generation where you have a version of it available for Wii U that has some of the unique gamepad functionalities, and then you have another version, same game basically, but whatever the new mechanic of NX will be, maybe we'll be controlling it through our smartphones. Who knows? I think
this title has release title all over, launch title all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked well with Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess was hugely successful.
Yep.
And I think it'll work again with Nintendo's new system. Especially, I think they'll definitely go through the announcement and the overall marketing for their new system a lot better than they did for the Wii U. Of course, that's setting the bar really low. But yeah, this one's coming out for the next gen. I know it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, they really have no other choice but to make it a bridge title, because if they don't, the Wii U will not have had its own Zelda game at all on the system, because the only other Zelda game was the Wind Waker HD remake, which was excellent, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's already an excellent game.
Right. But that's all that Wii U would have had is a remake. It wouldn't have even had its own title. And other than the Virtual Boy, I can't think of another Nintendo system that did not have or release or have in the library a Zelda game for that platform. That would be crazy.
Well, it's a first for everything. And I think the Wii U is just about done.
Oh, it's without a doubt. The only thing it's got is some DLC at the moment.
I mean, if I were Nintendo, I would just... All right, Nintendo has been doing some good things lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this should all just kind of build into next E3, where they pull an Iwata and just, like, pull the next generation system out of their coat pockets, like literally what Iwata did when the Wii came out.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you guys talk about favorite Iwata moments. That's mine.
Yep.
When he just busted out the Wii at E3 out of his pocket. It was like Xbox and PlayStation were still like under the wraps about the 360 and PS3, and Iwata's just like, yo, we got the next gen right here because we're awesome. We're Nintendo.
Yep.
But anyway, I think 2016 E3, we're going to see the new system, and Zelda's going to be announced as a launch title, and it might come out sooner than later, because from what I hear from listening to you guys and just kind of looking around my own, like this what's it called? PlayStation Next or Nintendo what?
NX, the NX.
NX.
Yep.
Yeah, not PlayStation, Nintendo. Sorry, everybody. Nintendo fanboys, Brad, etc. But the way they're talking about it sounds like this thing's already well into development.
Yep.
They're just kind of being like hush-hush about it so they can be like, E3, hey, we got a new system. And then here's the new Zelda game you want for it. So go out and buy it. And you're going to buy like 6 million copies of it because Zelda, yay. Because Zelda could do that.
Right. No, that's totally true. I mean, it's a shame that it got delayed to begin with. It was further a shame that additional delays are expected. And now, I mean, I think, me personally, I've effectively given up all hope on the title. I don't, honestly, at this point, it's like hell. If it ever comes out, I don't know. I'm so into other games at the moment. Like, I don't even know if it would be a blip on my radar right now. And I think there are a lot of Nintendo gamers that are like that. I mean, it's a big drought season until the end of the year, and all you're getting is, well, we're supposed to get Star Fox and Yoshi, Woolly World, with fluffy, cuddly, cute, Sackboy ripoff.
Why does every Nintendo franchise have to have an arts and crafts series? I mean, Paper Mario was cool, but then it was just like
it's like Little Big Planet. It's the
Epic
same
Yarn, and then Woolly World. It's just like, oh god, why?
Yeah, I mean, it's a total ripoff of Little Big Planet. It's not original, and I mean, it's got the Yoshi mechanics, and if you've played Yoshi's Island or any of those other Yoshi story games.
I mean, it's a carbon copy of Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, it's just with
except not as
Sackboy graphics, I guess. And
yeah,
a little too cute for me.
And not nearly as good of a soundtrack, because that soundtrack is epic.
Yeah, exactly. All right, enough hating on poor Zelda.
Poor old man Nintendo.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so Hitman. Lots of announcements. I frankly don't give a crap.
I'm interested. Just I mean, you can tell by my my dry tone that I'm not that interested. But
I didn't even know it was still a thing, to be honest with you. It's been so long.
It hasn't been a thing for a long time. I feel like, when was the last Hitman game like that? Easily 5-6 years ago?
Right. Well, and the movie that just came out a couple weeks ago is getting terrible reviews. So.
Oh, is it? Well, go figure.
Yeah.
But I mean, look what Square did with Lara Croft. So I mean,
that's fair.
It seems like that's Square Enix's new thing now, is to take dying franchises and breathe fresh life into them, because they can't seem to save their own. That was supposed to be a joke, but I guess it didn't. I guess that felt.
No, I mean it's like, Brad I think summed it up pretty well a couple episodes back, where he was like, it's Lara Croft in the last version of the game, while it was mechanically and graphically beautiful, the character development, which we all dive into way too much on this show, it was more like Metroid Other M. It's just like this very pathetic female character that, is strong but whines a lot, and, I don't know, it's almost, and I'm not like a feminist or anything, and I'm not necessarily saying like, crazy, oh my gosh, the portrayal of women, but it's so whiny, and I'm like, I don't know a whole lot of girls that are like that. So why all these Japanese game makers? I mean, maybe it's cultural for them, but it is not like that here.
This is Japan, and Japan has weird views on everything, especially women.
Apparently. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the game. I'm not terribly thrilled about it. It's not something I'm going to buy, so it's not.
I thought it looked kind of cool. Yeah. If I'm ever able to kind of get it from a red box, yeah, I'll take it for $1 a day.
Nice.
Other than that, though, yeah, I mean, I hope it's good for Square and the Hitman's sake. Other than that, yeah, you're right. I don't really care that much either.
Yeah. So, just a little bit of news on Destiny. For those who are not aware, now would be a good time to mention that there is a wholly separate Destiny podcast hosted by our compatriots over at the Destiny Speakercast podcast, which is available on iTunes also. And we talk about all things Destiny on that show. But this week, as it happens, lots of interesting things about new gear and exploring the Dreadnought, which is basically Oryx, who's the son of Crota, who you killed. Whoops! Spoiler alert! Not
spoiling shit for me.
Yeah, in the second expansion, or first expansion, whichever one it was now, I don't even remember. And he's coming and he's taking over all the bad guys, and he's coming to get you. And there's a bunch of new gear. So the harumph is, for those of us that run around and love on, and I mean literally, our Fatebringers and hand cannons and pulse rifles that we work so hard to get or rated for will be rendered effectively useless in the new version. So a bunch of people are kind of like, I don't know, I work so hard for that, I want to keep my gun, and it's like, no, you're not going to be able to do that, because it's going to suck, basically, in the new version. So, more new stuff coming. I'm glad. It sounds like the game is going to be way bigger than I think anybody ever expected, and every week more epic news comes out. And I mean, it releases in a month, literally, like a little less than a month from now. So I mean, I think that's great. Good for Bungie, and soon it will be good for all the Guardians out there who play.
Neat.
Indeed. Lego Dimensions. Did you read up on that at all? Do you know anything about it?
The only thing I know about it is there's is one based off the movie, right?
Yeah, basically.
And then one's based off Batman?
Well, there's a bunch. Yeah, so I don't even know. This is like one of those things where you're like, hey, Brad's just going to talk about it because he knows everything about pretty much everything all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, so basically, Lego Dimensions is sort of ridiculous. It's like everything that you expect with your classic Lego franchises and basically mashes them all together. So there's like Doctor Who references.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember reading about this.
And Batman and, all the characters kind of merging into one. I honestly kind of like the concept because in a sense it's kind of taken on that Disney Infinity model where, hey, let's just mash all our characters together and see what happens. And the Lego franchise has a storied history of coming up with super funny stuff in these Lego games. I mean, they are comical to play.
Yeah.
So, taking a bunch of their core these movie franchises or show franchises and ramming them together, I think sounds like epic fun. It's getting great feedback from the show, so...
And for some reason, they have the rights to all these people. So, because isn't it kind of weird? Like, it's not like Batman; it's Lego Batman. So it's like a different thing,
right?
Like, it's so weird. It's amazing how they've been able to like have rights to like all these characters without actually having the rights.
Yeah, I mean, like, just one example in here, right? And I'm reading this from IGN.com. It says, "Guy was like, I'm playing it." And fell off the side of the map while driving the Batmobile as Gandalf, and instead of dying, I was now stuck in sepia-tinted world of Kansas, a landscape of barns, fields, farmhouses, and of course, there's furious tornado on the horizon, which teleports you back to the vibrant world of Oz.
What the actual hell?
Right? It sounds like a cluster, and that means it should be hilarious fun. So...
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah, I mean, more news to come on it, of course, but Lego Dimensions could be epic.
Riding the Batmobile as Gandalf.
It just sounds ridiculous.
That might be the most epic sentence I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah. All right, Mirror's Edge. So, lots of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I think is the official title. Gameplay trailers were released from Gamescom, and basically the feel that everybody's getting and what the publisher is self-describing it as sort of a reboot of the series. I frankly don't know a whole lot about it. Do you know a lot about it?
The reboot of the one game series?
Yeah, Mirror's Edge. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I get it. Like, it was kind of like one of those... I remember. Okay, well, I'm losing my train of thought here. That's how like kind of like little yet a lot I know about this franchise because like I remember watching all the gameplay stuff when I guess I was probably like 16 when the first one came out,
right? And
I remember like I was watching like South Park or something. And every commercial episode there'd be a ad about this game. Every time I was just like, "This looks really cool." I'd look it up online. I was like, "Yeah, this looks really cool. I'm going to buy this game. I really want to buy this game. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a really well-done game." Never bought it. Like, I remember in my head, I was like, dead set on buying this game. I never did.
Yeah, basically, so here's what it says, right? The guy flat comes out and says, "Listen, dudes, it's a reboot." I'm paraphrasing just briefly, but basically takes the things that they really liked about the first game. Faith, the main character, the first-person free-running gameplay is still there, and the game is built on top of that. But he said it's a reboot, so they're basically telling Faith's origin story so that the events of the first game actually don't really exist.
Wow. Well, that is a reboot.
Yeah, so, he goes on to say, quote, "Maybe they will at one time in the future, end quote, exist." But, look, I'm all about it. I didn't play the original game. I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. But in my limited gaming bandwidth. I don't know if it's a game I'll pick up. It depends on what happens. Anytime I hear the word reboot, I get a little squeamish.
Right.
Because it's either going to be epic or an epic fail.
Or stupid. Well, like I said, I'm excited about it. I think it looks awesome from what I've seen. I'm probably going to buy it, which means I'm not going to buy it. I don't know. It's just like, I can see myself making the same decision I made last time, being like, oh yeah, I'm really excited about this game. And then I guess I never was really that excited because I didn't end up buying it.
Right. Well, I don't know. Moving on. So Halo 5, the only real big piece of news and we post this on Facebook, was that Halo 5, because of the processing limitations of Xbox One, will not offer its traditional split screen mode in multiplayer.
Oh yeah, that's so dumb.
So the reason they gave was very technical. They were like, well, because we couldn't deliver both sides of the screen at 60 frames per second, we didn't want to lessen the quality of the user experience, so we just got rid of the feature, which is almost backwards to me.
Yeah, wait, isn't this supposed to be like the pinnacle of gaming technology?
Right.
And you can't support a split screen multiplayer?
To me, even if you couldn't do it at 60 frames per second, fine. Brad would be like, no, it's not fine, but I'm saying fine. It's Brad. But just do it at the best resolution you can possibly do it, but if that's the feature that people really like, and it is admittedly one of the few remaining games that still does it that way, who gives a crap? Put it in there.
Right. I don't know. And this kind of comes back to all nostalgia and oh my god, it's just always better in the old days. But I don't know, Halo was so much fun. We could get two TVs, hook them up together, split screen, 4-player. One group of friends is in one room, one group of friends is in another room. We're all screaming at each other from across the freaking house.
Yeah,
there's a certain charm and funness to that because online you want to kill the guy that shoots you, but when you're doing it in real life, you can physically kill the guy because he's right next door.
Just choke him out.
just slam the controller down and grab his neck and say, "You're going down."
Yeah, for me, I don't see why they were so. It's so difficult to keep it in, but. I can appreciate the want for the quality of the gaming experience to be next gen, but I think it's a pretty big sacrifice to make. So we'll see how gamers actually react when they get their hands in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of it really is kind of one of those things that's really easy to complain about right now. But if you get in your hands and then you just barely even notice it's gone, it's who cares?
Right.
So yeah, it's right now I'm kind of meh about it, but again, first of all, I own a PlayStation 4, so firstly, I'm not gonna play it because I don't have it.
Yeah.
Secondly, if I do get to play it, which I'm sure I will, somebody will pick it up. I'm not gonna be oh, I don't know. I guess. I like to care about things way too much, especially about things I shouldn't be caring about.
Yeah.
Considering it's a whole different system, different franchise. But I was emotionally invested in Halo for a long time, so...
A lot of people were, and I think that's mainly the reason why it's getting as much heat as it's getting. But
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Halo. Woo. There you go, Xbox people. Don't say we don't talk about Xbox stuff, all right?
We never talk anything good about Xbox, but we talk about Xbox.
This was good. We're agreeing with the community that anyway. All right, so
yeah, but we're agreeing with the community that Xbox is making a stupid decision. Okay, we're bashing Xbox.
I don't know what that says about the community. Okay, anyway, so
it means they're stupid. I don't
stop.
know. Just kidding.
Okay, we'll jump quickly to WoW. If Tony were on, I'm sure he'd have all kinds of thoughts about this, but.
We're on, so we have no thoughts about this.
Right. So World of Warcraft, the sixth expansion, is the key thing that came out. It's like Legions or something. It came out with a name. is being released soon, and it comes at a time after they just did the big update like 2 or 3, I feel like it was just 3 months ago, probably longer than that now, where they upped the graphics and kind of redid the whole base of the world, and now they're saying that the reports are in from Activision that I guess the subscriber base has dropped in half since the release of the last expansion. So
what?
Half, right? So I think they're now down to like 5 million monthly paying subscribers, which is unfathomable to me that, a decade later that many people are still paying that much money a month. But apparently they are. If I had Tony here, I would have been like, so Tony, tell me all about your thoughts. But since he isn't, we'll move to the next topic. That'll teach him. Speaking of Tony, but a different kind, Tony Hawk 5. I had Brad here in the agenda because he's a big fan of the series. And
what do you think, Brad? Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. So several weeks ago, well, that means he just has to listen to our opinion. Sucks to be him. So several weeks back, we posted a link on Facebook about initial reactions to the game and the graphics being basically so below par that enough video game outlets were like, dude, I don't even know if I would pick this up. And when I posted the link, a bunch of people responded and commented, which, it's hit or miss sometimes with people's opinions. They were like, hey, it's Tony Hawk. What do you expect? And another guy was like, we don't play the game for the graphics. We play it for the tricks or whatever.
That is very true.
Or we play for the music and the soundtrack.
Even for like the Nintendo 64, some of the graphics were atrocious.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, when so many gamers are expecting so many things from games, it does pose a really interesting question. Does a game like Tony Hawk get a pass?
It's genuinely fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, does it get a pass because of that as long as the soundtrack's good? I mean, or
soundtrack and gameplay, that's what makes Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And maybe just maybe, people, listen to me, maybe you're buying games for the wrong reasons.
Interesting.
If you're worried about graphics and how pretty a game looks over how well it plays, because let's face it, we've had plenty of times in this new generation already where the game looks cool but ends up being a buggy piece of shit.
Yeah, and that's actually a really great point, and it makes me instantly think of Nintendo, which has made that argument now for 2 generations.
Right.
We don't need to have the best graphics to have the most fun or best games, even though we don't sell, 10 million copies of, the most shit-tastic game that ever existed. We sell a lot of really good quality, fun games that just don't have all those graphics.
And good for Nintendo and good for Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Honestly, Arkham Knight looked beautiful, just very pretty. But how many times are you going to force me to do the Batmobile when the hook shot and gliding is just as effective?
Yep.
And just becomes repetitive and like you're making me do something in order to progress the game. Like the Batmobile thing was so cool for 2 seconds. And then the rest of the game is just like, again? 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 Like, or on the other side of the table, you got the Assassin's Creed series, which the last couple releases have been buggy and glitchy, and these are, AAA titles.
Supposedly,
And we're getting this kind of quality out of games that just look pretty, but actually, in actuality, don't do anything. I don't know. And that's why lately, I mean, I've been absent from the show, so people don't really know what my opinion of gaming has been lately. But I've been exceptionally hard on Nintendo.
Yes.
On this show, and I'm starting to let up on them a lot, especially after getting a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Because I just look around and I just look at the game library, I'm like, I'm not really interested in anything.
Yeah, it's a lot
out now.
Yeah, well, but that's really interesting that you say that, because it's like what we were talking about at the top of the show. Every game is open world. Every game has pretty graphics. Every game has this fantasy, magic, sci-fi something about it that it's just, like you said, you actually summed this up so well. There's so much alike, and there's so much to do, therefore there's nothing to do. It's like a big nothing, and they just keep sucking your money away every 3 to 6 months with expansions and DLCs and add-ons, when the game just sucks.
I mean, even a series like Sonic the Hedgehog gets a pass because there's something genuinely fun about Sonic the Hedgehog, even if the game is crappy. Like, but when a game like Assassin's Creed or what's another like notoriously big title that lately has just been under par.
Oh my gosh!
Like I'm not gonna say GTA because they're always good, even though I don't play them. Like,
I think you could just use Assassin's Creed and everybody gets what you mean.
Or like The Force Unleashed.
Okay, yeah.
Or just anything new gen lately, or previous, or later on previous gen.
Right, when they went to the DLC business model.
That, like, it's just like, I'm kind of like overheating just like thinking about this.
Well, I mean, I think the moral of the story is, and again, I think you captured this really well early on, which is, I just think that too many games are trying to be everything to everybody, and therefore are not enough to enough people. Yeah. I mean, there are diehard fans who will always buy an Assassin's Creed game. Rob is one of those victims.
Right.
I will never, ever pick up another title because of how badly it's performed as a game title on release. And I don't like the concept of having to get additional DLC to fix something that should have been released correct to begin with. And on that point with Brad, I completely agree. I'm about, DLC being additional content that if I choose to purchase it, I have the option. It's not required. And it gives me something that I want, like Smash Brothers did, and I get my Lucas, and I'm a very happy man. And you and I will eventually play, and I will kill you with Lucas. It's going to happen.
No, it's not.
We'll have to talk about that.
You guys don't understand. Like, I don't practice. I'm just naturally good at Smash Bros.
Well,
I'm like Frieza. I'm just naturally good at things.
Yeah, and that's an interesting. Rather than go on others.
I'm also evil.
Yeah, there are a lot of other things that were mentioned at Gamescom. So if anybody out there has anything that they would like to add, feel free to comment on the article on Facebook or hit us up at GamerFeed Radio, or if you want to make fun of Brad, hashtag Nintendo Banana Hammock. So Kyle, you did see the new. This is so off topic, but I'm allowing it because I think it's been a long time coming. The latest Dragon Ball Z movie.
I saw it Tuesday,
and I saw that you saw it Tuesday. So, without spoiling all of the things, how did it go? Give us your honest review.
If you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you are literally going to be out of your seat, excited. Like, people were cheering. People were, like, screaming and, like, going crazy. Like, when the title sequence showed up, everyone, like, stood up and started clapping. And, yeah, it was like, it's kind of like when I went to see Star Wars Episode 1 for the first time.
Yeah.
Everyone was, I mean, obviously we're all let down. But when the Star Wars logo first appeared, we went nuts.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened when the Dragon Ball Z thing appeared. It was just like, we went nuts. It was like, yes, this is happening. And in Japan, they've already started a new series.
Wow, nice.
Which is basically retelling what happens in the first Battle of Gods movie that came out 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a retelling of that, and then it's going to keep moving forward and introduce new characters, new concepts, new villains. And they're already in their fourth episode, and I've watched the Japanese subbed, and it's awesome. And I can't wait for it to come to America, and I'm just so stoked that this, like, dormant thing that I think Fox ruined with Dragon Ball Evolution is now gaining popularity again. The Dragon Ball Z movie, Resurrection of F, the new one, it's in the top 10 in the theaters, like, as far as gross product in America. That's insane.
So, but I mean, unlike the butchering of other franchises, this is overall. You're saying this is a good movie, and people should
Oh,
see
it's
it.
great. I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z at its finest. It's nothing really new,
But big, over the
it's
top, good versus
not-
evil explosions of doom.
right? But that's not a bad thing.
I know. I totally agree. I love that. I'm all
Like-
about that.
It's kind of like, why is Mario so good? It's because he sticks to the formula. Why is Dragon Ball Z so good? Sticks to the formula. You got these shiny golden god like creature, like superhumans, going up against these evil demigod supervillains that could, freaking like flick their finger and destroy a planet. And it's awesome. It's awesome, explosive, fun, action, sweetness. There you go.
Excellent. Excellent. Well,
So if you haven't seen it yet, it closes tomorrow.
oh boy.
Get your asses some tickets. Because I'm going again tomorrow. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Or wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. Or
Oh, yeah, and then it's going to come out on DVD about 2 months from now. But I got to say one more thing. It's not going to look that good in theaters. I mean, it's not going to look that good on DVD.
Okay, fair, because it's on the
Yes.
big screen. That's fair.
Big screen made it even all the more better. I've never experienced Dragon Ball on the big screen before. And if I watched Dragon Ball Z on a movie theater every day, I would be so happy with my life. But yeah, so check it out. It's great. Check out the video game Xenoverse. Check out the card game. Check out the new series. Dragon Ball is back, baby. And
Excellent.
I couldn't be happier.
Excellent. So,
On that note,
with all of that fantastic news, like I said, if you guys have any additional thoughts out there about anything that we didn't cover at Gamescom that you really think we missed, or other exciting tidbits, feel free to comment on the story below. You can check us out on Facebook, on Twitter at GamerFeed Radio. We're on iTunes and iHeartRadio. You should be checking us out until you can't stand it anymore. Sucks to be you, Brad. Look forward to seeing more pictures from the Chippendale Show.
absolutely.
And until next time, gamers, peace.
Always remember, hashtag Nintendo Banana Hammock.